we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the Top Gun lawsuit. And this one is not surprising, given that there's been a bunch of lawsuits going on right now in Hollywood, both with Predator. They settled the one about Friday the 13th last October, I believe. And then there's a couple more. So it says, Top Gun heirs sue Paramount, alleged studio no longer controls the copyright. Now, I did not know that this movie was based, that the original Top Gun was based on an article written by an author. So it says, the original Top Gun was based on a 1983 article in California Magazine. On Monday, the author's heirs. Does that still exist?
I
don't know. That's a good question. I would love to know what the cover of that issue looked like. It says the authors. So on Monday, the author's heirs sued Paramount Pictures, claiming that the studio is profiting wildly from the sequel, Top Gun Maverick, even though it no longer holds the copyright to the magazine's story. The article's author, Ayud Yone, died in 2012. His widow, Shash Yone, and his son, Yuval, filed a notice in 2018 reclaiming the copyright to the story, which took effect in 2020. In the lawsuit, they argue that Paramount distributed Top Gun Maverick without obtaining a new license to use the underlying material. The suit seeks damages as well as an injunction that would bar Paramount from distributing the film. So they want to take it. I mean, it's the concept there that they're saying that they want to remove it from theaters, which seems very
never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
And prevent it from going to streaming too.
Yeah, the amount of money I'm sure that the lawyers that Paramount is probably throwing at this right now is probably incredible.
Well, also, I'm sure you're going to read this in a second, but the author wrote an article that inspired the original Top Gun movie. But the sequel, oh man, this is going to be a weird sequel thing. The sequel is actually inspired off of the movie, which would be separate intellectual content.
There's a couple of articles here that talk about it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
If it's transformative, right, and also the first movie itself is transformative of the original content.
Yes.
It's inspired by, but it is not
yeah.
It's not
So
a biography.
Yeah.
The best thing they could have done would be to just secure the rights again anyways, just in case. But it says, the Yones are represented by Mark Toberoff, an attorney who is a veteran of copyright termination battles.
What a great description of your career.
With major studios. Well, I mean, he's probably very
veteran
of
copyright
well paid.
termination battles.
With major studios. You missed that part. He is currently involved in a lawsuit against Marvel, which is challenging termination notices he filed on behalf of 5 comic book creators. In that case, the authors each claim fractional ownership of the copyrights in question. So the issue largely boils down to whether they are due additional compensation, not whether Marvel can be blocked from exploiting the characters involved. So far different. So it says it was originally due to be released in 2020, but was delayed 2 years due to the pandemic. The lawsuit contends that the film was not actually completed until May 2021. I don't know how they could know that. I don't know how, unless there's material behind the scenes stuff that says the movie wasn't completed until then. I don't know how they could know when the movie was done unless Paramount released that information. And then in this other article, I'm going to go to this.
So they're arguing it was made while the copyright
was about to had expired. So it says, nearly 4 decades ago, Paramount secured the rights to Top Gun. An article published on in the May 1983 issue. Oh, it's a now folded California magazine, so it is no longer a thing. That answers your question.
Someone should relaunch California Magazine.
So he received,
in the spirit of the 80s.
Yone received a writing credit for the article on the original 1986 film with a screenplay by Jim Cash and Jack Epps. In 2018, so they filed this in 2018, which are known as termination rights. So they argue that it's them, not Paramount, who currently owns the underlying rights to make any movies based on Top Guns. I guess that must have been the name of the article, Top Guns. They claim that Paramount didn't ask permission or pay them to make Maverick. They will likely just pay them off a substantial amount of money.
That's why they are being so litigious and thirsty in the first place.
I don't blame them.
They know.
I don't blame them. The plaintiffs are Ayud's widow, Yash, and his son, Yuval. On June 6th, they asked Los Angeles judge to immediately order Paramount to stop distribution of Maverick. So they want him to stop it in the theaters now. So get it off the screens. You're not allowed to.
But that was never going to
happen. Which also sounds strange because I don't know how it works, Brett, you can probably tell me, but if you have the licensing, don't they make money off of renting out the licensing to something?
In this,
Like, wouldn't they
they
want it
bought
to stay
for
in
a
in
specific
theater
amount of
and like
years.
make money? Oh, okay.
So it says representing. Okay, so let me go down here. It says while some deals give studios the rights to stories in perpetuity, there is a caveat. After a certain number of years, copyright holders of a work may recover copyright through termination notice. So they filed that termination notice in 2018. The Iones filed the termination notice in 2018, several months before Maverick began production on Top Gun Maverick. So it says it wrapped in. So right here it says production on Top Gun Maverick wrapped in 2019 and was originally scheduled to open in June 2020. So maybe the idea here is like if it had stuck to its original schedule,
They
and
would
there
have
had
avoided
been,
this.
They would have avoided this. But since that maybe it gets pushed back till 2022, and they can't help but make a few last minute changes. Or additions to the film, whether that's ADR, they do color correction, anything that keeps them working on the movie up until the time of release means
Were they
that
working up on the movie?
that's what I'm saying. I have no idea. Maybe that's the argument that they're making here. It says the article is not okay. So it says
They're claiming like a whole year and a half after.
Yeah. The article is not a screenplay, and Paramount can argue that the article was basically just a story idea and nothing more. Ideas are not copyrightable. Entertainment attorney Mark Litwack told IndieWire after reviewing the case. It's not always clear when an idea is embellished enough, when it becomes more than an idea, and it becomes a work of authorship is not a clear line. Well, that's the idea. Like the more fully fledged concept would have been down to the screenplay authors, not the person who wrote the article it's based on.
Yeah, and
I would assume
what it looks like the article is not. It's not. He didn't write a short story for this magazine. He wrote an article. So he theoretically went to Top Gun and interviewed people and wrote the story about this is what it's like to be here, and there are planes, and here are their crazy names. But they then took that as an idea and turned it into the first movie. And I think sometimes people will then, get the rights from, or they just so no one can have any legal dispute.
Yeah.
Like, give him credit. That's where the maybe the screenwriters read that article.
Yeah.
We're like, we like it. We're going to turn it into a movie. But I stand by my argument. Top Gun Maverick is actually based off of Top Gun, which was within its legal rights to the copyright, right? They are not actually basing it off.
I don't know if
you know what I'm saying, though? Can you see like the logic?
I don't see how from the jump the first Top Gun movie being a fictional narrative would actually be derivative of the article, because the article is just if it reporting factual information about it.
But I think they do it just to be careful. Like, I think you're right. Theoretically, anyone could have gone to Top Gun or heard about it and been like, that's cool, let's make a movie. Probably they read the article and were like, just to be safe, we'll give this guy credit for whatever, and we'll make this first movie.
Yeah, and now it's like backfire.
There's a TV show called The Unit, which was based on a book called Inside Delta Force or something like that. Like, I imagine it's something like that, where that might have been the character. Like, that's just the concept, and then the characters are different than the people in the book.
If this had been a short story that he had written for the magazine and someone had read it and then been like, I want to turn that into a movie, I would understand.
Yeah.
But like, Top Gun is, first off, government funded, therefore taxpayer funded, and also like, it's public. I mean, like, I'm sure there's classified stuff that goes on there, but like, it's not something that this journalist necessarily
I don't see this as a creative effort of the original author.
I'm sure the writing is good. I'm sure there is creativity in it, but like, again, it's about something that is public.
It's not a story.
The threat of the plaintiffs actually getting an injunction and stopping distribution of this film or getting damages under copyright law, even if it's only a 10% chance, the consequences are pretty dramatic, Litwack said. My guess is the case will settle. Yeah, I'm sure that they will just settle to get this out of the news as quickly as possible. Reached for comment, a Paramount representative said the following: "These claims are without merit, and we will defend ourselves vigorously." I mean, these studios put a lot of money and time into this stuff. I'm sure that they, at the very least, thought ahead to something like this happening. And Toberoff offered this. He says, Paramount's statement reminds me of Rear Admiral Chester Hammer Kane. The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction. To which Maverick replies, maybe so, but not today. Very, that I can see why this guy is a, what was that quote? It was like a veteran lawyer of...
Yeah, but so then he says, as much as Paramount wants to pretend otherwise, they made a sequel to Top Gun after they lost their copyright. As Maverick would say, it's time to buzz the tower. Like, it doesn't sound like they did that. Like, unless you're right that they were like revising it in a significant way after they finished production, which it sounds like Doesn't sound like they did if they were ready to release it twice.
It would be
It's
interesting
not
to
like-
know if they actually offered this family money and then the family said no and they just went forward anyways. I'm sure more will come out about that.
Also, why didn't they sue before? I guess maybe
Yeah.
because it hadn't been released, they hadn't violated any issues.
Yeah,
it wasn't an opportune time.
Yeah, wait till it's in
Yeah.
the public eye.
But they're
and
trying to
force
get it.
their hand.
But they're trying to get it to stop it from production. So when Top Gun Maverick was like, "We're gonna come out this day," just kidding, this day, just kidding, this day. Like at any of those points, the family could have been like, "Hey, no, we own the copyright, and like this is in our copyright time." You know what I mean? Like this is in our rights to be in charge of when this comes out.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They did it after it's already been released.
Yep.
Is that because they couldn't? Like the
I
act
think
of
they
releasing
waited-
the film violates the copyright?
I think they waited because they can put more pressure on them to just say, like, look, we don't just want you to pay us. We want you to stop production, which is a more serious threat, which forces them to take it more seriously and engage in discussion and offer more money, I'm sure.
It would be interesting if we see this like play out again with Winnie the Pooh.
That would be funny.
If Blood and Honey is trying to make a sequel later on,
I can't wait to see that.
and they get interrupted by a legal battle.
If we're still doing the show 36 years later, well, no, because that's public domain, so that'd be a little bit different. Also, Mariah Carey is being sued for "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
Why?
You see that?
Yeah.
I saw the headline, but
yeah.
I didn't read it.
Yeah, it says legendary. Let's go down. It says so. Andy Stone filed a complaint in New Orleans federal court on Friday, alleging that he co-wrote a song in 1990 with the same title as Carey's enduring Yuletide.
And he
banger.
must realize
It sounds-
how successful it is?
It sounds nothing like I
the
listened
same
to the song.
title, but nothing else is the
Yeah.
same.
It sounds nothing like it whatsoever. So it says he serves as the frontman for country pop band Vince Vance and the Valiants, is asking for a minimum of $20 million in damages, and he named Carey, her co-writer, and Sony Music Entertainment in the suit, claiming they illegally exploited his popularity and unique style. Yeah, that's the biggest
Yeah,
stretch.
he was really popping before Mariah Carey.
Yes.
came
Also,
about the
let's
scene.
be real. This girl has made so much money off that song. $20 million is
She might as well
nothing.
just chuck it
She-
at them. This is why people are being so litigious. It's just
Yep.
people don't want to deal with another lawsuit, so they settle that,
Yep.
like that.
He argues that his song charted on Billboard and enjoyed extensive airplay in 1993, and that attempts to come to an agreement with Carey and the other co-defendants in April of 2021 were unsuccessful.
So, why did he not?
Do this before?
Yes.
I don't know. That's a good question. So it says Carey's
Or-
perennial number one hit it was
It hit the Billboard
But-
Top 100 for the first time in 2019.
and his return to the top spot every
Only
year since.
2019?
What?
I feel like,
It's because it became a meme by that time, where it's like you
Yeah,
started
but it
hearing
was-
it so much that it became a meme.
but it was consistently, I would say, a top 10 played Christmas song every year since the early 2000s, right?
Probably
That's what I would have assumed.
Probably.
Like,
I love her response to "Is this the war on Christmas?"
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Also, what is this from, Mariah?
Or whoever runs Mariah Carey's Twitter account, because
I'm sure
why
she
would it
does
be
not.
her?
Why
I
would
hope
she-
it was her and she was like, I have the perfect photo for this moment. I've been saving it.
That would be great. And she did the Photoshop too. That would be that. What I really want is for all of them, Kim Kardashian included,
Oh, okay.
to do their own Photoshop.
She said when it first came out, it was more of a gradual thing. It was popular, but it didn't have what it has now.
because it's become a meme. Because
But
everyone
she
knows.
did-
Because
that-
everyone hates it
It's-
so
it's
much.
'cause that meme- it's
or
like the
everyone
meme
has a
of,
love-hate relationship with it.
But have you seen the like graphs about how much money she's made off this
Yeah.
song? I mean, it is consistently earning her like millions of dollars
Yeah.
each year.
Yep.
Like this is the
More than,
Mariah
like,
Carey.
pretty much the rest of her
Yeah,
discography.
everything
I
else
guess.
is fine, but the majority of her income,
Yeah.
from what I have understood, comes from this one. Like that's crazy.
I do
And
like
so it's
this
been
where
around
she
for a
says-
long
Maybe
time.
TikTok. If it was 2019, maybe TikTok was what.
There was also the memes
got
of
it on
like
the Billboard
there's a great
100.
meme of like Jason Momoa like creeping up on Henry Cavill,
Yeah.
and it says it's like my Christmas plans, and then it's and then Jason Momoa says all I want for Christmas is you.
I like
think
that meme, but then it's whoever's in the forefront, Justin Timberlake, and then Jason Momoa, and it says May.
Yeah.
Because every year that like meme of him getting shared. Of,
So
like,
it says one thing that Carey doesn't acknowledge of the age is the age of the song,
Thank
which
you.
featured prominently in the 2003 rom-com Love Actually. I rebuke time, she said. I have a thing where I just live outside the traditional realm of how we measure it. So in that way, Santa and myself are very similar. She should just
she just equated herself to Santa.
if we're gonna
Mariah
ra- if we're
Carey is
gonna-
eccentric.
If we're gonna race and gender swap any character, I'm okay with race and gender swapping Santa for Mariah Carey.
I just love
Let's
that she
go.
was like some people are like, well, I am just like Jesus, and Mariah Carey's like, I am also just like Santa. Like, Jared Leto, get out of here with your cult. Mariah Carey is Santa.
It says, if you listen to the song, guys, you can go in the, if you find this article, I believe this one is.
But we can't play it for
we
you
cannot
because
play it
this
for
guy
you.
is going to come along and sue us.
Yeah.
Just for her $20 million.
It's on Yahoo Entertainment. They have the embedded link to, it's Vince and the Valiants, All I Want for Christmas Is You, and they sound literally the opposite of similar.
He's going to sue
different.
you for all the money in your cash guns.
Musicians they repeat song titles that other musicians have made all the time.
Yeah.
It's not intellectual property. The title in itself is not intellectual property.
No, I get how many, like, I have, like, that's a funny thing, like, I'll, like, scrolling through my phone sometimes looking at my music, and I'll be like 9 songs with the same name, and I'm like, man, these people need to get more creative with their titles, because none of the songs sound alike.
Right.
They're just all
But the
similar
point
phrases.
is, it happens all the time.
Yep.
There's no grounds that this guy's going to win.
Also,
I
he
hope.
has known about this since what? The early 2000s, and he's been like, just waiting.
It's
Come
sort
on,
of
team.
like clips have resurfaced, tweets have resurfaced. Now copyright claims have resurfaced.
Songs have resurfaced.
Seriously.
Surfaced for the very first time.
Never, it's not a real thing. Resurfaced is not a real thing. Remember that.
Resurfacing is only for driveways.
Every time someone says that something resurfaced, it's a weirdo on Twitter who went scrolling through like 9,000 tweets of a person so they could find the resurfaced tweet.
The only
They're very
resurfaced
good at
ones
that.
were Chris. Which one got in trouble? He was supposed to host that one award show. Kevin Hart. And he had said some homophobic joke,
Yes.
and then he had apologized for it, and then they actually really did resurface, and he had to apologize for them again. That is the only case of resurfacing I have ever heard.
That's still the
of.
same thing. It's still somebody
No,
saying like,
this is not a claim that has resurfaced. This is a guy for the first time being like, oh my gosh, that song is like my song, but because they have the same title, so I'm going to sue. Like, he never had this thought before. This has never occurred to him.
so
I'm building my money tree.
there was a super chat in there.
Yeah. Nathan Koss said, as they say, you can sue a ham sandwich, but it doesn't mean you will win. However, it looks like the ham sandwich will give you a couple $1,000,000 to shut you up.
I am sure that she will just
So true.
pay him off. Right?
Could someone please super chat so I have some more money for my tree?
Yes, you do have.
Tree is building.
I'm building kind of a palm tree thing here. But it's far away and I need it to shoot towards me. Yeah, this is so weird. But also, what if you made a career out of like suing people for things that were vaguely like things you had done, and instead of like settling the lawsuit, well, they settle out of court and they just pay you money.
I know people have done it.
That's just so weird.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.